going to get freight train one way or another unless he makes that thing as wide as a double-wide mobile home. Marlowe's making a move up in the middle. 3 wide, you're in the middle. Hey, man, one more time. Right flag, you're the man. As they come onto the back stretch, it looks like there may be a move back in the back. Chris Haskins now moves into the fifth position.
Good evening, welcome to OLR TV. In tonight's presentation, we've got the DMP Grand National Series live from Daytona Super Speedway. My name is Daryl Morley. Alongside me is Tony Tex Stevens. We've got Matt Thomas, the best in the business, down in the booth, pushing the buttons and making that magic happen. We're going to go ahead and get right into your qualifying lineup. Had a couple technical glitches. We're a little bit behind schedule. We will get you all of the pertinent information for tonight's broadcast and tonight's race. It is the Fortune High Tech Marketing 225. Starting on the pole, the number 24 machine of Patrick Baldwin. Outside the front row, the number 59 of Jamie Valentine.
Rolling off on the inside of row number 2, the 17 of Chad Lawton. To his outside, the number 46 machine, that is the Ken Warren machine, the lone
And now, race fans, the most famous words in motorsports.
Wiles will roll up inside of row number 3 in the number 30 machine. Outside that third row, the number 50 of Nelson Rivera.
Number 21 of Marty Arnett, the Bacardi Chevrolet, will roll up in the 7th spot. To his outside, the 5 car of Ryan Bowers, he from Mission Viejo, California.
Brad Keselowski rolls the number 88 machine inside of row number 5, and outside that 5th row, starting 10th on the field, the number 18 of Rick Thompson.
Teammates, the 08 of Tony Cook and the 09 of Sean Hines qualified 11th and 12th and roll off in row number 6, 1/1000th of a second apart.
Row number 7 sees Tony Cook on the outside, and row number 7, I apologize, Jason Atkins on the inside, and on the outside, Eric Porterfield. Let's get the command.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Rolling off the inside of row number 8 is the number 10 car of Alan Gray, the Balin Chevrolet from Newtown, Pennsylvania. To his outside, or excuse me, Alan Gray rolls to the outside of row number 8. Pepto Joe Flanagan rolls off to the inside of 15.
The number 55 machine of Lance Scandura, the Napa Toyota. Yes, there is one racing somewhere, NASCAR 2003 style. We'll start inside of row number 9, outside of row number 9, the number 3 machine of Chad Zimmerman.
Tyler Armstrong rolls off on the inside of row number 10. To his outside, Justin Garrett in the number 7 machine.
The number 388 machine showing, I believe that's an admin here tonight. We have some drivers coming from the back of tonight's field. The number 43 machine of Michael Bidney will come from the back. J.D. Laird coming from the back in the 23. The 92 of Chris Henyon will have to come from the back if he's got a shot, as will Kenny Smith, Cody Surface, the number 99 of Brian Schoenberg. We've also got David Akers coming from the back, Matt Chaff coming from the back, or Chafe, I apologize, Greg Moore coming from the back, Lee Langley, Tyler Overstreet, P.J. Jordan, Brandon Hambu, P.J. Hoosier, Tom Wignett, and the number 48 machine of Steve Bammer. All of those drivers will have to come from the rear of the field if they're going to have a shot at this race. At this race win, this very important race number 1 for the Grand National Series, and it's going to happen live on OLR TV. Pace car is in. The field is under the control of Baldwin. Green flag flies, and we are racing on OLR TV.
Field slowly gaining speed as they enter turn number 1. Darrell 2 by 2 by 2 back throughout the field as they work now onto the 31-degree bank of turn number 1 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Nobody ducking out of line, making any sort of evasive maneuvers just yet. Still trying to build speed as they work off turn 2 down the back straightaway.
Heading down the backstretch, still side by side, 2 by 2, all the way down the backstretch. Draft speeds starting to build up. Baldwin in the inside lane starting to get the advantage as they work their way into turn number 3. This version of Daytona has the bumps. This version of Daytona will throw your car sideways if you're not paying complete attention. Baldwin able to stick it down to the inside. More drivers vacating the low line and jumping up to the penthouse.
Matthew Ardell trying to get that top side to work, but nothing there quite yet behind your lead pack there. Starting to grow single file as the field shrinks himself out. Starts to settle in line for this 225-mile event. 90 laps is a long time here at Daytona. And they know they've got a couple of pit stops between here and the end of the race, and they just need to save their equipment and hold out to see what they have before the checker flag flies.
Should be a fantastic race. These drivers have put in hours and hours of practice, making sure they are ready for tonight's race for a couple reasons. Number one, it's DMP. You don't show up to DMP without being 100% prepared. Number two, we've raised the bar quite a bit here tonight. They are live on OLR TV, the debut for the Grand National Series. And right now, Baldwin pulling away, but he's got Keselowski right on the back bumper, providing one heck of a draft working through 1 and 2.
Kez has made his way up from back in the top 10 starting position, Darrell. Already up to second, certainly proving that he has what it takes to work that number 88 Navy Chevrolet right up to the front behind that Jeff Gordon lookalike machine, Patrick Baldwin. Now the question is, can Kez lead? And for that matter, can he work his way back up to the front if he happens to get shuffled back there? The 08 car also turned back there around the 13th position, I believe it was. And he has also worked his way up to the third spot now as the field exits turn number 4 and begins to catch the lap car of Pepto Joe Flanagan, who had some electrical problems at the start of the event.
A tough break for Flanagan, already 1 lap down, about to be a 2nd lap down as this field starts to track down the number, double check here for Flanagan, I believe 53 of Pepto Joe Flanagan, and he's going to need plenty of Pepto once this field tracks him down. Keselowski took a peek to the outside, not quite sure if he's looking to get some clean air into the radiator of that machine or if he's just testing the waters for a later move. He also may be having some handling difficulties, keeping it down to the inside as they work their way down the backstretch. Now to turn number 3 as Flanagan moves to the high side.
To be 3 wide, getting around that lap car of Flanagan. We talked about earlier, Dale. You see the 30 car of Wiles bounce around. The bumps are big, the bumps are real, and the bumps can indeed upset the handling of your car as he gets a push from the 21 car, Marty Arnett, as they work down through the tri-oval to complete lap number 4. The bumps can certainly play a role here. Not so much early in the run because you got thicker tires on. The thing will grip like glue to anything. But 20, 30 laps into this run, Darrell, they're sliding around already as it is. You hit the bump and that tire loses contact with directly the asphalt, and they can create a whale of an amusement park ride, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, we're talking about a 5-ticket ride should the tires start to break loose, and these bumps almost guaranteed to start to break your tires loose. You have to be on the wheel the entire time. The Cup Series drivers raced this very same track last night, 3 cautions the entire event. We're looking for similar results from the Grand National drivers. They have set the goal to go green to checkered without a single yellow flag. And you got to believe, Tony, you've got to believe that these Grand National drivers, they have what it takes to get that job done.
That they certainly have, Darrell, throughout the years, having raced with probably at least half of this field. I can certainly say from experience that all these guys really need have the talent, the experience, and the know-how to run an entire race at any track, not just Daytona or a Talladega, caution-free or at least with a minimal caution count. Highly skilled, high ability to car control for these drivers, what I'm trying to say. You see that demonstrated now. A lot of these guys going over the bumps, maintain lots of room between not only the cars in front of them, behind them, but also beside of them, giving them all a little bit of an escape route in case somebody were to happen to bobble and a mistake would happen to come up with one of the drivers surrounding them.
Right now, Peeptropolis, our speed chat on OLR TV is absolutely hopping. A lot of driver owners, a lot of car owners, team owners out there in Peeptropolis watching on, observing how their particular drivers are doing and how their drivers are enjoying their time out there on the racetrack. And right now, as we can see plainly in front of us, the guy that's having the best time is Baldwin. Keselowski is right there, I believe, Tony, in the spot he wants to be in. He would like to lead a couple laps here, and maybe he'll have that opportunity, but he's more concerned with leading lap number 90. Lap number 7 is not his main concern.
Yeah, Kez really pushed the issue, kind of working his way up to the field. Now he's just kind of content to ride in line, see him peek a nose out as they head down the short chute, but not really in any big hurry to get at the poke the nose out of the line, trying to pass Patrick Baldwin. And a lot of these guys I've noticed are kind of in that ride mode right now. Jockey a little bit at the first part of the event, see what you can get, and then just kind of ride. You got to, at least a couple of pit stops. You're not going to win the race, like you said there on lap number 7. You can certainly lose it, however. And most of these drivers know that. Those that wanted to run the high line have kind of settled in up top. Those that want to run the bottom, well, they put their car to the yellow line, and they don't move much either. So it looks like everybody's just kind of feeling the things out, seeing who's around them and what they can do and how things are going to progress towards the end part of a run to see maybe what their car has later in the event and what they can or cannot do with it.
A lot of these drivers testing out the high line, testing out the low line, seeing where their car reacts best under race conditions. They've had some practice sessions. They've had their happy hour session. They've turned in their qualifying time. However, this is the first time tonight that they're able to interact with a large group of drivers. And when I say a large group of drivers, I mean a very large group of drivers. Our lead draft consisting of 28 machines, 35 machines, I apologize, taking the green flag here tonight on OLR TV, and the lead 28 still within that lead draft, of course, still led by Baldwin.
Turn 4, Darrell. The 77 car and the 18 of Rick Thompson just barely got together. The 18 shot up the racetrack to the outside wall. I don't think he made any contact. If he did, it was very slight. Both drivers maintain control of their machines, and we stayed green, but a very hair-raising moment for everybody from about 15th position on back.
Absolute, complete car control. After you make contact, you get down towards the apron here at Daytona, you are almost guaranteed to go around. Very few drivers, even in NASCAR's Premier Series, can find a way to gather up a race car once it gets down onto the flat. Once you have contact in the corner, light contact, heavy contact, doesn't make a difference. We have a bunch of drivers here tonight in the DMP Grand National Series that not only have the ability to try to save a car, but as we've just seen, they can flat out get it done.
That they can. Speaking of that 77 car, Darrell, and speaking of car control and things of that nature, it may ring a bell for a lot of people. Remember that, I want to say it was Nelson Piquet in Formula One back in the 70s and the 80s, drove that John Player special car. That is such a throwback scheme for any old-time race fan that it should bring some memories out. So hopefully he can have a good run. The one thing that little fracas did do, it kind of spread the field out a little bit more, separated your top 13 cars from that next pack, about 12 cars, and then of course a couple of stragglers back behind the field. But that second pack, though, being single file, they're already starting to catch back up to your large pack, who, as we've seen so far, is very content to ride double file. They're in no hurry to get racy by any means.
Oh, absolutely not. These are a very patient group of drivers. Baldwin keeping that machine locked down to the yellow line through the triangle. Now they work their way through turns 1 and 2. Baldwin less than a half a lane off that bottom yellow line. And we're going to go in car with the number 88 of Brad Keselowski. You're getting the opportunity to ride with one of the masters as Keselowski peeks to the outside, now dives back down to the inside. He is definitely testing the water for an outside move here, Tony.
I've noticed that too, Dylan. Keeps peeking out there, and he's got to the point now he's got a little bit of a buffer on that top side. There's nobody really up there, so he can kind of get up there, maybe tread the waters, if you will, and see what's out there. He now looks to the bottom as they work through the tri-oval. A couple of guys behind him, the 08 car of Cook and the 01 car of Adkins, both looking to possibly go with him, but right now he has got nothing for Patrick Baldwin, who's continued to lead this event so far from green to lap number 12.
Yeah, Baldwin, the dominant driver, if you can have a dominant driver at a racetrack like Daytona. Daytona, a lot of times, is put the foot to the floor, hang on, close your eyes, and pray. That's not what these drivers are doing. They are in complete control of their simulated racing machines. They know exactly what they're doing. They hope they know what their opponents are doing, what their drafting partners are doing here tonight. A little bit of information about this field of drivers. 36 drivers registered to race here tonight. 30 of them. That's right, 30 of them in Chevrolets. Chevy, definitely the dominant brand here in Grand National competition.
Ford, the second most popular there with 3 drivers. Jason Atkins, Lee Langley, and the 28 of Matt Chafe. So they've got a real good shot at winning this one with 3 drivers. We have the Toyotas. 2 of them, the Aaron's Dream Machine of Schoenberg and the 55 of Lance Scandura. And the lone Dodge, it looks like one of those Sundance Vacation Dodges they auctioned off a couple of weeks ago. Just up the road from where I work. The number 46 car, Ken Warren, the lone Dodge. It is, in fact, one of those 2004 Intrepid. So pretty sure he got that one from the Sundance auction up at the drag strip.
Yeah, by the way, Warren coming to us from the great north of Canada. Our partners and our friends to the north here. And actually, they are still north of where I currently reside, which is right here in lovely downtown Mason, New Hampshire. One of the few places that's still north of Mason, New Hampshire. We're talking about Maine and then, of course, Canada, right up above the United States of America. Most of these drivers are from the great U.S. of A. However, we do have several Canadian drivers in tonight's field. We have the number 28 of Matt Chafe. He is from Canada, as well as, of course, the number 46 of Ken Warren. Other Canadian drivers scattered throughout the other divisions here at DMP. And really, Tony, when you talk about DMP, you're talking about what a lot of people refer to as the ultimate dream for a sim racer. It is by invitation only. You don't show up and sign up. You are invited to race with DMP, and when you are invited, you can call yourself one of the cream of the crop. And it's not just when you're invited to the Cup Series, when you're invited to the Grand National Series, or you're invited to the Sportsman Series, which we'll have broadcast of the Sportsman Series starting next week, live on high-speed radio, audio only, by the way. But when you are invited to race in DMP, you have truly reached the top of the mountain as far as sim racing is concerned. These drivers are right there on the peak. They have reached the summit. Now they're waiting to reach the summit of the summit, and that, of course, would be the Cup Series. And you get a good performance here in the Grand National Series. The Cup Series, not that far away.
Daryl, it's the equivalent of if you or I or any other driver at a local short track got a call to drive a Busch car. I don't care. It's still the freaking Busch Series, you know? There's a lot of guys that can be extremely happy, and they will be extremely happy to pick the Busch Series, and that's essentially what this is here. And there's only 40-some people that can make it to the Cup Series in NASCAR, and you've only got maybe another 40-some people that can make it in the Busch Series. Out of how many people that drive race cars, there is a ton of people out there that have race cars, be they late model stocks or an offset late model or, you know, a street stock, whatever. That small percentage of drivers gets to do what they love for a living, or in this case, gets to do what they want, gets to do what they love as a hobby, but in the arguably premier series in the entire world.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've got a lot of real-time racers racing here with us tonight. Of course, Brad Keselowski, the biggest name of the real-time racers racing here tonight. But a lot of these drivers scattered through this field, they do have stock cars. They do have late models, several maybe dirt racers. You never know what you're going to get when you go racing. As a matter of fact, we've even got ourselves an NFL player in the mix here tonight. You talked about the Grand National Series and the prolific nature of the Grand National Series. These drivers working to get themselves up into the Cup Series. The drivers that are trying to get to the Grand National Series, we've got some very big names that are not yet at the level of Grand National Series. Talking about guys like Nathan Smith, guys like Matt Johnson, Kevin Williamson, a good friend of mine and ours here at OLR TV, Richard Davidowitz, Tommy G, Matt Baker. I mean, these are all drivers that are working to get their way up into the Grand National Series to join drivers like Chad Zimmerman, Lee Langley, Tyler Overstreet, J.D. Laird, who is a top finisher in points from last season here in the Grand National Series, looking for a much better finish this season, and that invitation, that very important invitation to come run with the big boys up in the Cup Series here in DMP.
Yes, Darryl, like we said, by just being in the Busch Series is nothing to be ashamed of because, again, there's only 36 drivers that reach this level and only another 36 that reach the Cup Series level. That's 72 drivers out of the entire world of sim racers. So to be at this level is pretty darn good. No, I mean, you're not going to get any flack from me from being a DMP Busch Series driver or Grand National Series driver, excuse me. That is for sure. And we still see on the racetrack, Keselowski, he's starting to try to look to the outside, though. Nothing there. The 24 car of Baldwin still hugging that yellow line. The top side, though, starting to get ahead of steam up as they've got about a 7-car draft at the top, starting to make a little bit of headway towards the front.
Yeah, our buddy Mike V out there in the Speed Chat area reminding us of the upcoming second annual OLR 500, also the free pickup racing here at OLR. If you're concerned about Sierra going down, don't you worry about a thing. OLR has your free pickup racing, and of course the second annual OLR 500 coming up on December 8th. You may very well see a lot of these drivers you're seeing tonight taking a shot at qualifying in the OLR 500. And you mentioned the Busch Series here. 36 drivers are gained entry into the Busch Series, and they are 36 of the best on the net. I don't care who you are. If you know a sim racer that tells you they don't want to race in DMP, they're lying. They're angry because they're not getting the invitation to race in DMP. That, my friend, is the fact of the matter, and I can guarantee you that if they got the invitation, if they got the opportunity, they would jump at it. Just like these 36 drivers have done, just like the 36 that are in the Sportsman Series have done, and of course, the 36 drivers that are involved in the Cup Series have also done as well. We've seen Keselowski test out that high side. We've seen Keselowski clip the apron and save the car, chase it up the racetrack. Keselowski again, back to the middle, threading the needle, looking for the run to the inside, outside, high side, low side. No help in the middle of this thing. Keselowski will start to drop to the back like a lead balloon. He's not going to have any assistance. No one's going down there with him unless the high side vacates from the extreme high side. And right now, nothing doing, Tony.
Right, exactly, Darryl. No help whatsoever. He's doing an excellent job of staying in the middle there in what we call the sucker hole. It's amazing that some of these guys haven't crashed for that. The way the 01 was down on the apron. A couple guys up in the fence. You see these cars wash around a bunch over these bumps. And in fact, the 08 car went by up in the middle of the racetrack just a lap ago, the way he was going over the bumps in turns 3 and 4. What this did do, however, was give the rest of the field a little bit of a run on the 24 car Patrick Baldwin. Nothing there, however, and it does show the rest of the field that, okay, if you're going to go by the 24 car, you've got to do a lot of help, and you're going to have to do it on the high side because one or two guys will not get the job done.
Oh, they absolutely will not get the job done. You're going to need a substantial amount of drivers to get the job done as Brad Keselowski gets back in line and immediately jumps back out of line. Keselowski not happy with the inside line. Tony, we saw him testing the outside line. Now he's decided the middle is the place to be. Oh, it's getting tight.
And it is. We worked on 24 of 90, closing in on 1/3 distance of this 225-mile contest. Brad Keselowski right now treading those waters that even sailors the devil fear to tread in the middle of two drafting lanes here at Daytona. Gets the spot below, spotter says clear. Kez will drop down just a little bit, and that bottom lane will make some headway. Single file your top three. The double file battling begins there at 4th between the 88 of Kez and the 21 car of Arnett. But Arnett now will try to squeeze down to the bottom line over the 50 car of Nelson Rivera. Rivera will have nothing of it, and now Kez shoots to the top of the racetrack, trying to lead the top line by that Pepsi Chevrolet of Patrick Baldwin.
Tonight's racetrack has been edited for racing here in DMP by the soon-to-be legendary John Gorlinski. Gorlinski is your season 7, I should say, Grand National Series points champion. Grand National Series points champion, by the way, starting only 14 races, 4 poles, 3 wins, 9 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. Obviously, Gorlinski has moved up to the Cup Series here for season number 8 in DMP. Who will be the Brad Gorlinski of season number 8? We are waiting to find out, and the best place to find out, the only place to find out, is right here on OLR TV and High Speed Radio.
That is, Daryl, your home now for the DMP Series, Grand National and Sportsman, and hopefully soon to be the Cup Series. But we're going to work on that one because Matt's got to cut a few more checks. Okay, it's not quite that easy, but you get the point. But nonetheless, the 08 car of Tony Cook, he's now trying to look a little racy in that same position that that Brad Keselowski was, as you watch off the bumper of Cook back to that 01 car of Atkins. Atkins trying to see where he needs to go, watching in front of him to say, okay, the 08's here. Now, if I go with him, where I'm going to go? Behind the 01, you've also got Keselowski trying to make the high line work on the top side. Nothing there, however. You've also got Nelson Rivera back there in the 5th spot. He's made a good charge up from his mid-pack starting position to bring that number 50 machine to the top 5.
We've got lap traffic on the horizon. That's the number 21 machine, I do believe, of Marty Arnett. Arnett has had some difficulty, some electrical issues with that Chevrolet. As we are hearing now, it's number 20 of Brandon Hamby. My apologies, number 20. Joe Gibbs Racing Oil sponsored entry for Brandon Hamby. Looks very similar to the Joey Logano entry, as we've seen Logano in the Busch West Series, Busch East Series. Anywhere Logano goes, he is successful. He will be a Cup driver very soon in NASCAR's Premier Division. That you can count on.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Having the privilege to run some races with Logano, the kid can wheel a race car. I remember his first full-body slot car race at Jennerstown a couple years ago. The kid was a weapon. I'm just not going to hold anything back. He was a weapon that first race. But it took him maybe 1-2 races to calm down and realize, okay, I can't drive it like I'm the only guy on the racetrack right now. There's 30 some other guys out here with me. And once he realized that, Daryl, he was supposed to be right. Keselowski spins to the inside.
Keselowski got down into the number 46 machine, or the 48 machine. We'll double check. Looks like the 46 machine he got into. That's Ken Warren in the number 46 Dodge. Unfortunate for Warren in the Dodge, and that brings out our first yellow flag of the evening, working lap number 29. I don't know, Tony, what do you think? You think we're going to see some pit stops coming up here?
Most likely, and I will say that Brad Keselowski is very, very lucky right now, hit nothing but the 46 car of Warren. Warren hard in the inside guardrail in turn number 3, as you'll see on the replay that Matt Racing Kit Thomas has queued up. Keselowski, master of car control, keeps that thing around, out of the racing groove, out of anything else, grabs the gear and keeps going. And yes, there, I do think pit stops, we're going to see that as we're about 1/3 distance. These guys can make it now on one more stop. Well, maybe not one more stop. Actually, yes, my math's on. One more stop as we watch the 88 of Keselowski make that spin to the infield in his masterful piece of driving. Tough break, though, for Warren, who does go nose first hard into the inside guardrail. And, Daryl, this is where you want to figure out, okay, what can I do? 2 tires, 4 tires? Play a little bit of strategy at this point.
Well, the best strategy at this point right now, 4 tires. If you're going to try 2 tires, you're going to have to go with 4 tires towards the end of this thing. You want to be able to save your 2-tire stop should you decide to make one for the end of this deal, especially if it happens under green flag conditions. And the way this race was going, it looked like we might have been able to go green all the way through this race. Not going to happen as we watch the number 24 of Baldwin come down pit road. I'll keep an eye on Baldwin. Perhaps you can watch the number 01 of Adkins, Tony, as Adkins will come down onto pit road as well. Baldwin all the way down the front stretch to come to his current pit stall, and it looks like it's going to be at least right side tires on that number 24 machine of Baldwin, the Pepsi sponsored Chevrolet. Right side tires are down, and Baldwin is down and away. 2 tires for Baldwin. He's down and away. He did what we talked about, Tony, as I'm not even currently following the same action. Rookie mistakes, you know how it is. Baldwin had taken 2 tires, as 2 tires, some fuel. He's back out on the racetrack as now my monitor updates, and I do see Baldwin entering the racetrack on the backstretch.
Yeah, Daryl, we always knew you were a little bit of a slow cookie, and then we won't hold that against you. But we are actually under caution, so I guess you can be a little bit slower than normal and still look like you're with the rest of us. Well, at least for a short time. But nonetheless, if you'd like to see Daryl screw up one more time, because we all like laughing at Daryl. I can't give him too much slack there. The guy's a great man. But anyway, if you'd like to see that one more time, you can pick up DVDs of not only this race, but previous OLR TV broadcasts and future OLR TV broadcasts. You pre-order this one before midnight Eastern time, which still gives you, about an hour and a half. You can save an extra $2-3 off of the cost, essentially free shipping if you want to think of it that way. Or if you wait till after midnight and the conclusion of this race, it will be its normal price, $11.99 plus $3 shipping for the OLR TV DVD.
Get out there, get your DVDs. You're going to want to save all of these races. Full screen, DVD, high quality. Watch it on the plasma. Watch it on the flat screen. We're going to go ahead, take a break so we can afford to pay for some flat screens here on OLR TV. We'll come back with more of the Fortune High Tech Marketing 225. It's DMP's Grand National Series. You got it live in living color here on OLR TV.
The Nextel Cup heads back to the road to the Glen, and NASCAR Hot Pass takes you along for the ride. Ride shotgun with last year's winner, Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick wins at the Glen.
Points leader, Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Road Warriors Juan Pablo Montoya, and Robbie Gordon as they try to earn points for the chase.
Let's get to victory lane, babe.
Don't miss the action next week on NASCAR Hot Pass.
On the road again, going places that I've never been, seeing things that I may never see again, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
Are you tired of working 40-plus hours and have very little to show for it? Are you tired of living from paycheck to paycheck? Have you ever wanted to start your own business but don't have the money to do so? Then Fortune High Tech Marketing is the right business for you. No inventory, no cold calls, no door-to-door sales. Fortune High Tech Marketing is a word-of-mouth business. Just talk, that's it. Get paid for the services you use every day. Best of all, no experience required. Visit www.join-fhtm.com and contact Dan Denaire to see how Fortune can work for you.
What do you have your hands on? That's right, I'm talking to you. Look down. What do you have your hands on? No, not that. I'm talking about your steering wheel. Are you using the only steering wheel used and endorsed by Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Sierra testing team, and of course, the OnlineRacing.com staff? Well, if you didn't get it from Thomas, you're not using the wheel. Thomas Enterprises, the absolute best racing wheels on the market. If you're not using a Thomas, you're not in control.
Using only the freshest potatoes makes Lay's potato chips naturally irresistible.
Welcome back here on OLR TV. If you can't get enough OLR TV, don't forget, coming up on Monday, August 20th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Extreme NASCAR returns to OLR TV. DMP is back on August 21st with their Grand National Series here on OLR TV. That at 9:30. If you're wondering where you can catch the, that's the 22nd, I apologize, on OLR TV. The 15th race, that's going to be on High Speed Radio at highspeedradio.com. Green flag is back out. We are back underway, and Baldwin continues to lead this event. Bowers now right down on the back bumper of the number 24 of Baldwin. Single file for the first 3 or 4 spots, but then it gets a little bit hectic towards the middle of this front pack as they're starting to get back up to that continual double file.
that they are, Daryl. The number 10 car, that of Alan Gray from Newtown, Pennsylvania, the first car to be out of line. Behind him, the 28 of Matt Chafe, one of the few Fords in this field, and the number 92 machine of Chris Hinyon from Daytona, right here, this being his home track. Those three starting to already work the top side of the racetrack, trying to see what's up there. And right now, Daryl, you kind of have to wonder what some of these guys have done. We've got left sides, right sides, 4 tires, no tires, lots of different pit strategies to play out and see what's fast over the course of a long run. And in fact, that's what these guys are going to have to bargain on, is a long run, because otherwise it really didn't do a whole lot except track position. But depending on what they did last time, they're going to have to go back, because chances are if they took 2, they'll need at least 4 next time.
Yeah, and Baldwin's looking at potentially needing 4. A lot of other drivers took only those 2 tires, perhaps seeing an opportunity to get up towards the front, pick up a lot of track position under the caution in the pit area, on pit road. The easiest place to pass somebody is, of course, on pit road when they're stopped and you're not. Makes it very easy to conduct a pass on pit road. Baldwin, obviously foreseeing that type of event, only grabbed 2 and got down and away. Maintain that top spot, but at what cost? He is going to need 4 tires more than likely at some point before the end of this race. I don't know if those left sides will hold on for a full 90 laps.
Speaking of holding on, Daryl, right now, team cars, the number 3 car, Chad Zimmerman, and the 30 machine of Tim Wiles racing side by side. They've got everything lined up behind them. The 21 car of Arnett, the 28 car of Chase, he to the outside. Down the bottom, you've got the 01 car of Atkins, the 10 car of Gray. These guys now racing for about the 7th position as they come down towards the tri-oval to complete lap number 35 over 1/3 distance. Now we're starting to see a little bit more impatience out of these drivers, and it's just like a crescendo, if you will, in music. It's going to get more down the one. 3 car puts the 30 to the wall. Big crash in turn number 1, Daryl.
Big pile up. We've got a huge incident up here in turn 1, also involved the number 43 of Bidney. We're seeing some damage on the 47, some severe damage to the number 92 machine. Smoke fills the air here at Daytona Super Speedway. We've got some smoke, we've got some dust, and we've got some bent up sheet metal out there on the racetrack. Never a good combination here at Daytona Super Speedway. The only positive is maybe if they take some of these body panels off, they'll get a slight weight advantage. It's not going to help them tonight.
Nah, Daryl, I want to kind of keep everything nice and smooth when it hits the air because, well, those jagged edges just don't work very well. Not to mention they kind of hurt when you cut your hands on them. Not that I've done that or anything before.
Oh, we know you have from your extensive experience in short track racing all around the country. Tony Stevens, fresh back from Bristol Motor Speedway with the ASA Late Model Series down at Bristol Motor Speedway. Tony Stevens getting the call from the ASA Late Model Series up there, broadcasting it to the World Wide Web. Audio only, of course, and Tony brought it to vivid life. As we're about to see what happened, what went down, one guy knows exactly what happened. We'll throw it down to Matt Thomas.
Yeah, you see that 3 car, he gets up into the 30 car, and then behind him the 92, 21 get together, and then the 43 gets a piece of it. Quite a few cars get a piece of the action here. 92 looks like some heavy right side damage on that Shell Pennzoil machine, and also the 48 slow down on the apron there, but the 43 also, I think that's the old Smith-Waller machine, I believe. 43 is Michael Bidney is out there, and boy, he's got some pretty good damage on the right side of that. So a couple of cars going to come in for some pretty good repairs here, Daryl.
Thank you very much, Matt. And by the way, Bidney is racing for Waller Motorsports. That, of course, the team owned and operated by Smith Waller. As we've got cars colliding on the apron here. That's inside of turn number 4, and not good. Not a good situation when you're having a collision on the apron. Under caution, obviously some drivers trying to get to the inside, other drivers not trying to get to the inside, and it looks like the 31 was just absolutely jacked up by the number 48 machine, that being Steve Bammer in the Captain Morgan sponsored entry, as Bammer comes flying up through the field, locks down the brakes, but just couldn't get it woed down and got into the number 31 machine. Obviously unintentional, but sometimes these things happen, Tony.
That they certainly do. Now, what this does allow some of these guys to do, Derek, those guys that took 2 tires that last time, come back in, get their other 2, or some of those guys that took 4 to come in and maybe top off the fuel tank, a couple things along those lines. So it can kind of play into some of the strategy. It looks like most of the second half of the field came to the attention of their crews, in which case it gives them the opportunity, if we go green the rest of the way, to do a little bit of a splash and go, maybe get an advantage of some of these guys who are going to have to stay on the pit lane a little bit longer to take a couple more gallons of fuel. And Darrell, while we have a break, I think you want to recap some of our points and the things we have looking forward to, or have to look forward to, this season with the DMP Grand National Series.
Yeah, season number 7 is, of course, has a cap on it. Your top 5 in points got the potential invite up to the Cup Series. Here is your top 6 in points. John Gorlinski took home the championship with 5,929 points, followed by Bob Bryant, with 5,114, only 15 markers back from Gorlinski. Bill Dorsey took home the 3rd spot, 68 points back. Darren Turner was 4th. 5th was Jesse Atchison, and 6th was Dave Vincent. Dave Vincent locking down the number 6 position. 7 through 12 works out this way. J.D. Laird, Tim Johnston, Matt Chape, Brian Moody, Landon Harrison, and Stephen Steffen comes home in the 12th position here in the Grand National Series 2007, or season number 7. Those of you that are wondering what happened last night with the Cup Series, here is your finish from last night. Your finish from last night's Cup Series at Daytona. Tom Hazard, in his first ever DMP Cup race, takes home the win at Daytona Superspeedway. Ray Alfala comes home 2nd. John Walters was 3rd. The great Kevin King comes home in 4th. Dave Vincent was 5th. And C.W. Webster came home in the 6th position. 7th through 12th shakes down this way. Darren Turner comes home 7th. Mike Gillette was 8th. 9th was Tim Johnston. We just talked about him. Brad Davies rounded out the top 10. DJ Beverly came home 11th. And 12th was our good buddy Bob Bryant. Bob Bryant comes home in 12th position last night. Pretty darn good run, but not the kind of run that Old Trips was looking for. Big bad Bob Bryant. I ought to call him Quads, but I don't know why I call him Trips. Big Bobby Bryant. There we go. That's why we call him Trips. Fantastic racer, and also a very intelligent human being is Bob Bryant. By the way, for those of you that are wondering, your live scoring is back up. Your live scoring is back up here on OLR TV. So if you want to catch your live scoring, go ahead and check right up there on the top of your OLR TV viewing window. We'll give you the tour of the OLR TV viewing window in just a little bit, but we are getting set to go back to green flag racing. Looks like we might have a little bit of time to give you your tour. If this is your first time over here at OLR TV, here's your tour of the OLR TV viewing window. Of course, you've got your video screen where you see all the live video action right there in the upper left-hand corner. Your lower left-hand corner is your race summary, tonight presented by join.fhtm.com. Make sure you go over there and check them out. Love our sponsors here on OLR TV. Also gives your quick notes and what's going on, your status in the race. On the top right-hand corner, you've got all of your race stats, your standings, how the drivers are sitting, how many laps they've led, how many points they currently have. A lot of information up there just above your speed chat, or as we call it, Peeptropolis. And then, of course, lower right-hand corner, it's the chat. It's where all the action happens. It is Peeptropolis, or the speed chat, right here on OLR TV. Those of you interested in getting into the voice chat channels, quite simple. All you've got to do is select one from the drop-down here on OLR TV. You can get back up into the voice chat channels. Pace car pulls in. We are just about set to go back to green flag racing. Green is in the air, and we are back underway. Baldwin once again leading the charge towards turns 1 and 2.
That is Will Darrell single file behind him pretty much the entire field. The 28 car of Matt Chafe does look to the top side of the racetrack, people find no help up there, and quite quickly, I'm sure, dive back to the bottom. Well, just as sure as I say that, he gets a bumper on the 01 car of Atkins, but nobody up there to help him. The 28 car Chafe will undoubtedly fall back into the clutches of those behind him, and again, the drivers of the DMP make me look like an idiot, which isn't that hard to do. A couple other guys go up there, including Atkins and the number 10 car of Gray. So once again, they make Tony look like an idiot. And you mentioned Fortune High Tech Marketing back there, Daryl, presenting our OLR TV window to you tonight. Well, they're not having the best of nights because, well, both of their guys were just involved in that last caution. So hopefully they'll have a little bit better luck as we close in on the latter stages of this event. But right now, top 10, single file, the first battle is back for around the 12th position.
First battle down back around the number 12 position. Your top 11 drivers just comfortably running single file. They know it's not time to start entering that danger zone, as we always talk about here at Daytona Superspeedway. There are two major danger zones at Daytona Superspeedway. The initial start, and then potentially, if we have a lot of lap cars, the restarts can be a little bit dangerous, but the last 10 laps is really the most dangerous time of the race here at Daytona International Superspeedway, as I'm corrected by Tony Tech Stevens. That's when everybody is working towards getting as many spots as they can. I don't care if you're second going for first, fourth going for fifth, or 23rd going for 22nd. You're always looking to pick up at least one more spot. You're talking about the points hunt here in the Grand National Series at DMP.
Daryl, points racing sucks. Just take it from somebody who's never points raced in their life. Points racing sucks. You're a race car driver. You don't care about points. You just want to pass that moron in front of you. That's all you're here on the racetrack for. You don't even think about points, I'll tell you that, because right now, there's enough people I know who are in points titles, and they really don't care. In fact, they hate it. They absolutely hate it because they have to think about things like that. They're there to just go out there and race, like a lot of these guys are going to be able to do early on in this season, and just get as many spots as they can get, because what pays the most points? Win the race.
Oh, absolutely, and the reason you want to pick up as many spots, the points are always in the back of your mind, especially when you're here in the Grand National Series. A good run in the Grand National Series, a good finish in the points in the Grand National Series will potentially get you a spot in the Cup Series. Cup Series, very difficult to get into. Basically, somebody has to retire for you to get into the Cup Series. The Cup Series is packed full, and it's packed full for a reason here in DMP, because that's where everybody wants to be. Right now, they are in the Grand National Series, and they are live on OLR TV, and they couldn't be happier. They are tickled pink, but they'd also love to be in that Cup Series, racing on Tuesdays rather than Wednesdays.
That they would. There's a number of names that you see in top series throughout the years here on OLR TV racing up front right now. Among them, that 50 car of Nelson Rivera. We've seen Patrick Paul win some of the special events, such as the OLR 500, and of course the famed PSW 500. Right now, Paul is still your leader. He's led half of this event from the pole and will continue to do so, it appears. Single file still back behind him. We've even got some other big names in the field here. We talked about Rivera, Pepto, Joe Flanagan has had some issues. Brad Keselowski, we haven't so much seen him as his brother Brian Keselowski in some of the other events. I'm sure we'll see both Keselowski brothers more often than not this season on OLR TV as they get some exposure here through the DMP Grand National Division. Lee Langley, a name familiar to many who've been around sim racing for a number of years, is now we start to see the battle pick up around the 9th position. Daryl, they're starting to go to the outside and see what their cars have got as we approach from halfway.
Yeah, they know they're going to have to go to the high side here, Tony, and there's a reason for it. First and second, they are teammates with King Style Motorsports. Ryan Bowers out of Mission Viejo, California. I think we know of a Cup Series driver that has come from Mission Viejo, California. And, of course, the number 24 of Baldwin out there in the lead out of Connecticut, both racing for King Style Motorsports. Don't look for them to mix it up, at least not in the early stages of this race, as we are now officially beyond the halfway point, as now we're one lap beyond the halfway point here at Daytona Superspeedway. just love calling it Super Speedway. I don't care what they call it now. I like calling it Daytona Super Speedway, and that's what I'm going to call it. Baldwin is your leader. Bauer sits in second. Rivera licking his chops in third place, waiting for Overstreet, Valentine, and Cook to pick the high side so he can go with them.
Sorry, Daryl, back around that 9th, 10th position or so, the 28 car of, the 28 car Chase just about got a door ding from the 4 car of Lang. Well, I guess a door ding would be an understatement. More like a body slam from the 4 car of Lee Langley. And behind them right now, we see the 88 of Keselowski. Kes has made his way back up close to the top 10. In front of them, the 01 car of Atkins holds that top line up just a little bit, starting to kind of see where things are headed. Keselowski looks to the bottom. He now will try to dive to the bottom. He, in fact, will do so as the 09 car, Sean Hines, not quite fully up to speed at this point and is giving away a lot of poles to these guys. He can come right at the top and cut right back down in front of him. As now we see the 18 car. Rick Thompson gets a little out of shape, has to crack the throttle, but he just taps the brake, stays in it, maintains his position on the bottom of the racetrack, but he does give a little bit of a gap between himself and the 59 car Valentine, running up there in that 5th position.
Adkins leading the charge on the high side, trying to get a little bit of side draft off the number 18 machine of Thompson. Thompson gets right back down to the far inside, almost touching that yellow line. Let's not forget, this is Daytona. The yellow line is out of bounds. You cannot go down beneath the yellow line to create a pass. You also cannot force another driver down beneath the yellow line. Here in DMP, they try to enforce all NASCAR-style rules, especially when they go to a track like Daytona. And hot pitting, doesn't happen.
That certainly is the truth, Daryl. And just a note to any Tim Wiles fans who may be watching us, Wiles in the Fusion High-Tech Marketing automobile, he has officially retired from this event, the Kansas City, Kansas driver for Team Fortune. Tough break for him involved in that altercation a little bit earlier with his teammate, the number 3 machine of Zimmerman. We want to give him, well, I wouldn't say condolences, but again, tough break. Has to have one of the hard luck awards at this point. As we start to watch that battle thrashing around in the mid-pack around the 7th spot. I almost said Brad Coleman. It's not Brad Coleman. It's the 18 car of Rick Thompson, the 01 car of Jason Atkins, racing side by side as they have been for a good portion of the middle stages of this event, Daryl. And it looks like neither one's willing to give an inch, and nobody can really make any sort of headway up past about the 5th spot or so.
Yeah, coming up this time by, we'll have 40 laps remaining in this race. 40 and a half laps to be exact right now, or 40 and a third to be closer to exact. If they come down at some point in the next 20 laps or so, they can make the distance. Right now, if they make their pit stop, we're being told they can most likely go the distance on fuel. Tire wear not normally an issue here in Daytona. But what opens up the major question, how late do you wait to make that pit stop? Obviously, you're going to do what those drivers around you do. You're going to try to pick up as many people coming into pit road with you as you possibly can. You're going to try to find out if they're taking 2, if they're taking 4, what they're doing, if they're going fuel only, how early you pit, how late you pit. If you pit too early and the yellow flag comes out, potentially you could wind up a lap down. However, if you are on pit road when the yellow flag comes out, perfect scenario. You stay on the lead lap, your pit stop is now complete, and you have all that track position you've just gained.
Of course, that only works, Daryl, assuming the leader does not bypass you while you're still on the pit lane and the yellow flag comes out. So you have to make sure you're in touch with the leader and that your stop is quick enough in that nobody's going to bypass you, because even though this series does not race back to the caution flag until 10 laps to go, well, you know, the leader can still go flat-foot around the racetrack, blow past you at pit exit, and still put you a lap down. So you're not exactly in the clear yet, unless, of course, the leader decides to back off when the caution comes out.
I think more often than not, you'll see the leader back off, although not quite as early as everybody else will back off. Everybody else will back out of the throttle. Once the leader knows he is clear of the rest of the traffic, I think he'll back off that throttle as well. But he is not going to immediately lift from the throttle. That would be foolish. That would be darn near suicidal, because if the guy behind you